Okay, today we're going to talk about respect for clients. And again, it doesn't mean that you have to actually respect the client. It just has to show that you demonstrate respect for the client and other interpreters. So what does that mean to show respect for clients? In our profession, we need to inform about any maybe people think that you're not respected by your now to show respect. Now it's important that whenever you're working with other interpreters and servers, you work you are showing the hearing community, the deaf community, and everybody who comes later on in life. There's a list of a very serious amount of people who you are people might think that it's your fault that you're interrupting class, but really it's not. It's be careful and always understand about yourself. It's important to understand and know. 5.8. One time I was absent from a class, but my team was also absent, so there were 2 new interpreters who showed up. The deaf person, the hearing students, they explained about what happened to the 2 interpreters getting into an argument, and I thought, if you disagree with somebody, you shouldn't take it to the classroom. You should be patient and keep it to yourself. .2. Whenever you're working with your teammate, you need to make sure beforehand that whenever you work and arrive early, and you need to make sure that everything is set up correctly and you provide help and vigilance with that teamwork assistant team or agency. If there's 2 interpreters in a work thing, usually it's 20 minutes and you get 20 minutes for work. And then I'm going to go do a smoke break or knit or read a book or no. That's not teamwork. That's not being a supportive, skillful interpreter. The experience that you have in the class is what you need to have a supportive, active interpreting. They need to be looking at the time or showing documents that are important for the situation. The interpreter needs to understand the test or pointing on the interpreter for them to look so that they can and sometimes there is really big vocabulary or technology words, and you need to be able to show them to your team member. and work together to interpret. In many years, I've worked with this interpreter, and they know, and we knew each other. It was a good teamwork, a good team. Before, don't don't just show up and be lazy and look around and play on your phone and play video games. If you go to a restaurant and you go to a server, do you see them get on their phone? I'm sure you've seen it happen. If you're an interpreter, it's important that you stay as an interpreter and show that you are a really good, and don't also have a conversation with somebody who's not there. Oh, who's there. 5.3 says conflict, breaking CPC through in the Bible, you're supposed to approach the person first before talking with somebody else. Whatever drastic measures happen. One time, somebody took me over to the side, and they were trying to be mean and hurtful, or they weren't trying to be mean and hurtful. They were just trying to explain to me what was going on. I was working with the school for, they asked me how somebody did, and I was just saying he drew the cutest little picture in math, and we did math, and I was talking about this kid, and I kept talking and kept talking. I wanted the mom and dad to know exactly how well their child was doing. And then somebody later in private told me, you need to let the teacher tell. That's their role. That's not your role. As an interpreter, you are an interpreter. And I said, you're right, yes. And I'm glad that she didn't take me in front of the class and tell me all the things that I've been doing wrong, but it's something that I will have it stuck in my mind for the rest of my life. If you got warned everybody makes mistakes sometimes. It is hurtful sometimes, but you need to know how to approach people, and 99% of the time, it's how you approach them about the good things, and praise them for good. Don't praise them for the good things that they're doing, the people who are your consumers. Stay professional.